so the desktop volume's way too loud. Alright. That should be a little better. Actually, I think that's too quiet now, but we'll see what it's like. I'll keep it monitored. Alright, here is our stream for today. We are going to be working on some liquid nitrogen overclocking setup. I finally got the liquid nitrogen today, so today we are definitely going to do our first test run with the liquid nitrogen. I have the camera running here with this tripod. Let me check this audio real quick. Okay, the live stream looks to be healthy and good. Alright, everything seems to be running good. Alright. So, I have this case that I have right here. This case needs to be worked on. Can't see what I'm doing here. Alright, so we have all these brackets and screws, and we have these graphics cards here. Today we have to separate and choose what components we're going to be using for the liquid nitrogen overclocking. Today is the first day that I actually have liquid nitrogen that we will be using, so definitely be actually doing some liquid nitrogen overclocking. I just went to air and gas and got my first batch of liquid nitrogen. And here it is. So this is a doer, and in here is the first batch of the liquid nitrogen for the liquid nitrogen overclocking. So one thing that's really important with liquid nitrogen overclocking is to have good airflow. So since I'm going to be starting this soon today, I'll make sure to have all my windows open so that way that there will be no issues with being suffocated by by nitrogen gas. It's safe to breathe in, but you just have to breathe oxygen as well. So, not too big of a deal, especially with the central air system. Let's see. Yesterday I finished disassembling this mining rig right here. That's on the floor right there. And then this computer, ended up pulling it out from the back, the depths of my room. This is an old computer. This is a my Dell XPS 630i, one of my favorite cases. And here is my Switch 810, and today we're pulling those out to make some room while we do the liquid nitrogen overclocking. The motherboard I pulled out of this case yesterday was put into this box, and this is actually going to be used in the Dell XPS case, so that'll be a computer that I'll be building soon. So getting a slight update from this older system. And we have to install the LN2 pot. So this is the bottom pot, and then this is the middle section, and this is the insulator that will go around it to make sure the temperature doesn't rapidly change and cool off too fast. So once all of this is assembled and put onto this motherboard, we'll then be able to test liquid nitrogen. If this motherboard doesn't work, we'll just have to pull out another motherboard and test it out. Let's turn on some light here. It's kind of dark. So let's see. This graphics card will be going into my gaming desktop when I pull out my own 3090 for testing. So this can be set aside for now. I was thinking of actually putting it into this computer for a while. But let's see what will happen. So we're going to put this camera down here. A lot of these cases have to be moved. They just take up a lot of space. And now that I can move them around, it'll be a lot easier to manage with. Right now I'm just trying to put away these computer cases that I have because they're taking up a lot of room right now. There is so many computer panels and stuff in this room. It is an absolute mess. So finally, now that I have some room cleared out here, I think I'll be able to start actually working now. I need a Ziploc bag to put this stuff into. All right. This is my Ziploc bag collection. I need to put these screws in here or else I'm never gonna want to separate them again. So this is all just mostly the mining rig stuff. The ones that I can instantly separate are those. And some of the screws as well are different types from the motherboard I disassembled yesterday. But it's pretty straightforward. And we're good. You know, I really need to bring my portable vacuum cleaner over and get this stuff sorted out. If the video is having issues, let me know. Trying to get the live streaming set up, but it's a little more difficult than I was having time with. Alright, and there we go. Okay. That is that. Let's see, what else does need to happen? Oh, there's test points on these motherboards. If these motherboards work, I will be soldering on some leads to be attaching to the oscilloscope to measure the noise levels in some of the voltage rails. So whenever I'm going to be testing these power supplies, I have to make sure that they're all grounded to the same ground and whatnot. So that's kind of difficult because you're only supposed to use one per breaker, but you have to make sure all of the cables are properly grounded to where you need them to be. So if I put this, I'm thinking if I put this camera more so like right here, would that be a better angle of everything? I'm thinking. So let me switch to the other tripod here. You guys can watch this stream over here. I gotta take this tripod off real quickly. Cool. There we go. So I think now you can see everything going on over here. And then if I sit at my desk and looking something up, y'all can see over here. And so let me move this over here. So the strategy today for the liquid nitrogen, oh my god, yeah, all these gas canisters, stuff that like I need to more seriously clean up. Let's see. This is kind of a problem right now. Half the time I spend thinking of how I want to move things around in my own room. Alright. I think I know what I'm gonna do. First things first is screw it. We're just leaving it for now. Okay. This motherboard should probably be blown off all the dust and everything that's been settling on it. I don't think that's very good for testing purposes. This morning I already blew out the kingpin as well as the for the win cards as well as the computer cases so that they're all clean. There was a lot of dust in this room and I eliminated a lot of it. I'm allergic to dust, so thank God I was able to clean that up. We won't be using this power supply. And what else do we have here? I think mostly good to go. This just needs to be blown off with air, so I'm going to blow that off with air and be right back. So I just fired up the air compressor. I'm gonna go clean up this motherboard outside with the air compressor. This thing is really dirty. It should be cleaned before use. I'm also going to be removing this bundle of cables because cables really like to hold dust bunnies, and I don't think I'll be using, honestly, this many cables for this build. I think it's a wee bit overkill maybe to have all these cables attached. However, one thing I do want to do is separate this power supply from the rest of the computer, because it honestly should not be attached. If something happens or something needs to be moved, all the systems should be separate. So the power supply cables should be easily be detachable and rather not be such cumbersome to move around. Right now, I will be removing the power supply that I have installed previously before carrying it outside to blow the air off of. It also applies a lot of load on these two screws that hold this case on, and I'd just rather not have that be an issue for me. So I will be putting these screws back onto the frame. And this open bench frame is really amazing. One of the best test bench frames I've ever used. So here we go. This is the open bench frame. Here's the motherboard. I'm going to spray these off individually, and then they'll be ready to go. Alright, cool. So, here is that power supply I just cleaned up. And we have not one, not two, but 3 power supplies. Each one one for the processor, one for the first graphics card, and one for the second graphics card. Now, the first thing that we need to do actually is not with the test bench, but the motherboard. With the motherboard, when we install the CPU, oh yes, this needs to be dusted off as well. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. This motherboard has now been blown clean. One of the things that I'll be doing, I'm actually looking and trying to see if there's any way. So this is for an Intel bracket. Now this Bauer direct die mounting kit. I have put a layer of Kapton tape. Here, can you guys hear me? I've put a layer of Kapton tape onto this piece here, so that way there's no way that this piece of metal could short my project. The problem I'm having, however, is that it's not getting a good mount, I don't think, and I think it'd just be better if I didn't put extra thickness onto this in the first place. The load seems to be very well distributed and could be okay. I just took off the Kapton tape of this mount. I still have to take it off of this one here. So just on the CPU, the one thing I'm really curious about is the performance I could get just from the CPU being cooled with liquid nitrogen. The issue I have right now is not the hardware, but rather the amount of liquid nitrogen I have with me right now. I really want to do a possible thing where I actually get to do LNG overclocking on more configurations, which I have listed down below on what I want to do. So the CPU plus 2x GPU LN2 test. Now I am trying to remove all of this tape and residue and whatnot, but I'd love to just jump in and start doing it, but it's really methodological, time consuming and setup and whatnot. So it's not something that you can just do on a whim, which I think is pretty cool. It takes some time and prep, but it's kind of like owning a drag car. We got accustomed to just being able to turn a key and have our cars running on demand, which is very impressive. But some things still need a lot of prep work, and in the future it might not be that way, you know. Maybe more people will have their hardware cooled with liquid nitrogen. So this bracket here is supposed to mount on the top right here. Whoops, that is the wrong way. Like this, and hold the processor in without the actual IHS, the integrated heat spreader on it. So this is called the Der Bauer Direct IHS Delete Kit or something. I don't remember. But what we will be doing is we won't be delitting a processor today. We will be going through some of my pre-bin processors. So let me go grab so for this we're going to be using i9 7980X's. So I have 3 of them here. One's in my desktop right now, but from what it looks like, so apparently, okay, so this is a newer batch. Oh, it's empty. So we're gonna go by batch number. So I guess we'll start with the oldest chips first. Oh, this is this chips box. I guess I'm missing a box for one of my chips. So, just trying to put this processor back in here. This one's not delidded, so we're not going to start with this one. We will be starting with this other chip we have right here. This one is already delidded, or should be at least. Yes, this one is delidded. Okay, perfect. So we'll be using this chip. I already delidded this one before. It's a very simple process, but I don't really want to do it right now. So we're going to use the chip that was already delidded to begin with. It's a known good chip. It was pulled the other day from a different desktop. However, I've never gotten this chip to work with this motherboard with this CPU mount. I was able to swap the retention mechanism. It still didn't work. Hopefully it's not an issue with the board. If it is, I plan on getting this socket replaced because there's nothing else that should be causing problems on this board. Everything else seems to be working fine. If it still doesn't work after a socket replacement, then I'd be willing to do more diagnosis. But for now, it'll be just perfect for our purposes of putting in a chip. Now, like I said, we have to use the special thermal paste. You can't use normal paste. It has to be a certain ceramic paste. So I will use some 91% isopropyl alcohol on that. So here's the chip. I really like these chips a lot. They're very square and they're very good even mounting pressure on the IHS, even with such a large die. When the dies get larger and larger, the heat distribution throughout the chip gets worse and worse. So the Ryzen chips have an issue where the middle cores actually operate worse than the edge case cores. So you get this all cleaned up. Do it one last shine. And after I use the tissue, I like to use Q-tips and go and remove small excess thermal paste that's like really close to resistors or capacitors you don't want to rip off accidentally. So once that is good to go, what a beautiful chip. You get lost looking into it. It's a perfect mirror. I've never seen anything as reflective as one of these cores. Look at that. That thing is so reflective. It's like the best mirror you'll ever see in your life. I've never seen anything shinier than this. Definitely recommend it as a life experience. One thing I'm having trouble with right now is the direction of this chip. That's wrong. This way. So that corner triangle apparently goes in the top left. But now processor is in, and this is where this mounting bracket comes in. So there's that. Now we're gonna have this mount directly over that piece, right? Then take this backing piece, and this piece also has a direction to it. One thing I'm worried about this is when I look on the back of this motherboard, there's a bunch of traces. This piece is made out of metal. So hold on. Anytime I have any doubts with myself, I always just pull up Google or DuckDuckGo actually and search their Bauer Direct IHS Skylake So I think there's an OC Tools. This is the one that I have right now. So they do put something in between. It wouldn't make sense. That would damage it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something similar, but slightly different. I'm gonna get electrical tape and then make, you know what? I have some extra stickers that I don't need, so I'll just be cutting these stickers up. Stickers, and instead of covering the whole thing with like Kapton tape like I did last time, I'm only going to put it on the back plate in a specific orientation, so that way it is very even clamping pressure. So my way of essentially putting it in four corners should probably be good enough, is my idea. Oh, you guys can't see, let me turn the GoPro back on. My bad. Boom, there you go. Actually, let's make the GoPro bigger. There, you guys can see more now. Okay, now that we have this, we'll go from behind.
So they said they use stainless steel, but I'm actually going to use different nickel-plated screws. I think the screw choice should be fine. Personally, not too concerned. I just want to make sure we get the torque on this absolutely perfectly. So now I have now I'm doing a star pattern torquing sequence, hopefully so I can get even clamping pressure on the processor. This is as tight as it probably can get, honestly. We're not going to use the water-cooled VRM block yet. We are going to be installing these threaded rods. However, these threaded rods don't seem to want to thread into this adapter plate. I think if I recall correctly. Oh, it does. So here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to thread it in to these holes here. Now what's nice about, I just realized, I hope this, oh it is. Oh, that's so clever. So, this plate just sits underneath the other plate. That's like a saw right there. That's like the worst sound. Oh, I put in the wrong hole. That would definitely make a whole lot of sense. There we go. Now let's grind away. There we go. That is how you install a liquid nitrogen bracket. For water cooling, yeah, you can remove the IHS. Okay. When you were at your desk, it was fine. Thank you for the input. Let me move the microphone then, because I'll be working at. Let's see. How's that? Can you guys hear me better over here? Sorry I didn't see your message there. So that is how you mount an IHS bracket. And now that we have
bracket, before I press down on this, actually, I'm gonna leave it on this desk here, and this foam insert kind of needs to be punctured with this, so I have to line it up with the best series of holes. I need to honestly double check first before I randomly insert into. Okay, cool. Now I know. So now put the foam insulation on. I'm trying to get this mic closer to me. Let's see. Okay, we got this. This is a pain in the ass, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm very new to streaming. I've never thought I would be streaming liquid nitrogen overclocking, but here I am. I think if I put the microphone right in front of me, it would help drastically. So let me do that. I hope you guys can still hear me. Darn. Let's see. Can I put it on this thing? Wow, I'm running out of places to put this. You know what? I think I can mount this in the drawer right here temporarily. Can you guys see this? This is getting jank. Alright, good. It's still working. So I'm trying to screw this up here. I did this before when I had this desk in the garage, and it actually worked pretty good, but it's just the top drawer won't close all the way. But I mean, if you guys can hear, that'd be much better. So let's put this right there. There, that should do it. Now, if I take the whole microphone setup and I put it right over here, if I'm talking, okay, now you can't see because this damn lever's in the way. So let me put this over here. How's that? Is that any better? This cable got it. Alright, I'm gonna turn off audio. Okay. Alright. This is looking really jank. But screw it. Let's not have this going over my desk. I'd rather have it just droop off of the table right there. Okay, we are back. We are here. And hopefully with a better angle as well. Yep. So we have this spreader here. I need to push this foam in upside down to make sure that the holes are lined up with the correct mounting slots. The reason why you want to have the foam in a certain orientation is because, or you need the foam because you're trying to make sure that everything you're doing is well insulated, so that way your heat doesn't rapidly change for your LN2 pot too quickly. This is just true with any cooling. This can use dry ice as well. Anything that like essentially is like a super cooled liquid. But I think now that did that. Before we mount the CPU socket, we have to put dry erase marker all over the board. Sounds good? Perfect. So let me go get the dry erase marker. I need to find it because I used to have a ton of this stuff, and then I put it away. I don't know where you went it. So now I have to go find it. I think I put it with the rest of my liquid nitrogen gear. Here, I'll show you guys the chaos that I'm trying to deal with right now. So have to kind of go over an obstacle course. To find some stuff. Oh my god, this is really heavy too. Because it's just full of concrete blocks. Ta-da! Except I don't see any magic erase. Which is why I grabbed this. Where's the magic erase? Where did I put that stuff? I think I put it in like this green container. Oh, found it. This is the green container full of my dry erase. 5-foot radiator. My biggest PC build I ever had four 480 millimeter radiators, and that actually, the radiator was bigger than most truck radiators. This is the dry erase stuff, and I'll be using this around the CPU socket to prevent from condensation. This stuff is really good to act as like an insulating barrier and just prevent damage from condensation. So you just kind of rip it apart and take smaller pieces of it around the CPU socket, right where the LN2 cooling is going to happen. And you just like take some small pieces at a time. I'm actually going to do this on this mounting plate already, and I think I'm going to turn the test bench around this way. So this is the Open Bench 2 titanium test bench. One of the things I hate about it is that it has these rubber feet that I lost, and they always fall out, and I only have 2 of them, but they had 4, but like they're useless, so I'm not even mad I lost them. Kind of mad. Other than that, it's perfect. But when something's so perfect, something that doesn't even matter just seems to stand out. I don't know. Do you guys like the music? If not, I can change it. I can show you guys what is playing in the. How do I do this? Do display. Nope, cancel. Not display capture. Window capture. I don't even know what's going on. I'm not gonna mess with I'm not messing with that. And you know what? We'll increase the mic volume just a tiny bit. So we'll be all right. There we go. How's it now? The problem now I'm having is that chat's too small and I can't read it from here. I'm so new to this. Alright, let's pop out chat. We'll put you up here. Okay. Cool. I think we're good to go. Let me just change the angle of this. Oh, nope. Monitor's stuck at that angle. Alright. We're good to go. We're going to be putting some magic eraser right here. And the reason why you need it is because if you don't need it and you get it warm, it kind of doesn't stick. So here, I'm going to put this just enough to protect the electrical components. What's really nice about magic eraser, you just pick it up with more magic eraser. So, but then you get in like this endless loop of adding more and more magic eraser. It's pretty, this is really, I think I'm supposed to roll it out first. God, I'm really bad at using this stuff. There we go. Need that in. Need that in. Thank you, Turtle Judd, for all of the help with the microphone. Appreciate that. It's really hard to set things up, especially when you're alone doing this stuff. But right now I just have to cover all these components with magic eraser. Some people use like conformal coating and stuff, but I think the magic eraser just does fine. And like Vaseline just is a mess, and I like my hardware. Maybe if I was sponsored, I'd use Vaseline. I think Vaseline is a lot quicker to set up. Just coat it on, and then you're good to go. This? No, this won't work for water cooling, I think, because your hardware would get too hot. The liquid nitrogen really cools everything down around it, and if you start like I've seen some people cover the entire board. Actually, you know what? Let me show you guys something. Let's go to my desktop again. So this is my personal website, divinf.net. And if we go to engineering, we go to past projects. The improving thermal performance of the MacBook Air. Here is a thermal camo FLIR view of a MacBook Air 2013 or 2011. When we did this test initially, we wanted to use my desktop computer, but we weren't able to use the desktop. So instead, we used. Let me see if I have a picture of it. I would love to share it if I can find it. Let me see. Can you guys hear me when I'm over here?
I want to make sure that everything is all good and you guys can hear me.
Okay, you know what I need? I need a Rode mic. Let's go. It's like half and half. Essentially, when I went to college, I tried my best to continue the work that I like doing. And that was just computer overclocking and engineering. So I did a lot of computer stuff even at university. Oh, here, I'll drop the website in the chat. It's divinf.net, and then the personal website is closest0.com. Those are the two links for the website. So all I need to do So one thing that's scary about the magic eraser is getting it into places that you're not supposed to put magic eraser, and getting it out of those types of spaces is kind of scary. But once you get more of this stuff down, it tends to stick down more, which is helpful because it kind of doesn't really work with you sometimes. So it's just nice to, it's finally conforming to your needs. This is just to prevent condensation from developing on parts that it shouldn't be. Stream delay is about 20 seconds. Okay. I hope the quality is good. I really don't have the best of internet. So I hope that everything regarding that is fine. During the day though, less people watch like movies and stuff from home, so I think the quality should be better, but I'm not too sure. I really hope this motherboard works, because if this one doesn't work, then I'll have to pull out another motherboard, but luckily we have a few of those. Today, though, we're only going to be able to do a few tests of the liquid nitrogen. My doer is only, excuse me, is only 20 liters, which is not a lot of liquid nitrogen. So I plan on trying to stream my work every day. I do have multiple projects that I work on. The computers is something I like to work on when my engine building side of things doesn't seem to be going as well. That I did a garage stream the other day, and that was pretty fun. I'm limited by your hardware right now. No internet problems as far as I can tell. Maybe it's just too high. I don't... If I change this, I mean, this is a pretty decent computer here, so I don't think there should be. Where would you get in? Get in with what? I'm sorry, I don't follow. So Judd Turtle, do you watch a lot of streams and know a lot about streaming and quality settings and whatnot? Oh, where would you get liquid nitrogen? You can get it essentially if you have a container to put it in. Like you could literally put it in like a thermos, like a hydro flask. You could put it. Oh, my hardware and camera and my mic. My microphone is a Audio Technica 2035. It's old though. It's like 4 years old or something. No, way older. 8 years old. Gosh. I got that thing when I was like 14. Oh my god, it's 10 years old. I'm 24. And my camera is a GoPro Hero 8. The camera is actually pretty decent quality. It's better than my webcam, so even though there's an audio delay, I think the visual is way more important with this stuff than the audio. So I'm not too worried on that side of things. So essentially, you see how I'm just trying to create a barrier between the where would you obtain the... I buy mine from Air and Gas. There's a place that they distribute like oxygen, nitrogen, liquid nitrogen, carbon dioxide, liquid carbon dioxide. Essentially, they just supply like medical suppliers and other people in the area with liquid nitrogen, and they have like trucks. And I was asking them today about doing home delivery, and I thought it was funny because they just kind of laughed at me, which I thought was funny. But they sold me the liquid nitrogen, and they gave me a pretty good discount. So, always happy to do business with them. They're very friendly. They try to sell it to you at the best price they can offer. And there we go. So, alright, I'm looking at this right now, and I don't think that there will be any condensation buildup. I'm not sure. I haven't done extended periods of LN2 before. I know though, once you stop putting LN2 in, you have to essentially stop the process. I think I'm gonna fill these small corners with magic eraser, and then when I take out the processor, it'll just have to pop out with it. And when I turn off the system, I'm gonna have to this is the first time I'm doing it on like really expensive hardware, because I've only done it on like older hardware that was like, it was okay if things went wrong. It wasn't the end of the world, but like, it's not the end of the world if something goes wrong here, because it's another data point, but very risky data point. Some people use the IHS. It will drop your temperature probably about 3 or 4 degrees Celsius. If you're trying to get better temperatures on water with this integrated heat spreader delete, because it really helps with lowering the amount of material you're going through is a big factor. Essentially, one of the biggest terms, if you mathematically break down what's happening with the transfer of heat with liquid nitrogen or water cooling, is the whole principle is how can you remove heat as fast as possible. And obviously it'd be way quicker by using like liquid nitrogen and whatnot. Like things that are colder will absorb that vibration from the processor more and be able to move that heat away faster than if you were trying to do it another way. So now that I have filled the I've filled the processor area with the magic eraser, as you see here. And now I'm going to stretch this magic eraser out very thin and cover the capacitors around the processor die. Now, some people like to use the conformal coating here, but I don't like using anything permanent on my processors. And maybe I don't need to do this, but for me it's just a precaution. I'm going to do it. I've seen numerous debates online of how much you need to do. Some people use like socket heaters and whatnot, but I think just using this magic eraser will be perfect. So I'm trying to stretch the magic eraser out really thin right now. Make sure that it's not going to affect the socket retention, the socket height. So wherever there's too much, I'm going to pull away some and then push it back out again. So here we go. This might be overkill, but it might not be, you know? For what it is, I think it is worth it. 500X series. Honestly, AMD chips are so well binned. Or any Intel or AMD CPU that is not like either an EPYC or one of the highest tier i9s, they're gonna be binned so tightly. And by binning is whenever they make processors, they try to make them for the best processor. And if some part of the CPU doesn't work, they just disable those cores and then mark it down. So like an i5 could be an i3 processor, or an i5 processor that wasn't good enough to be an i5 could be listed as an i3. And the Ryzens are even more tightly binned, because if you look at Ryzen CPUs, they have like so many different variations of the same processor, and it really doesn't make a huge... There's not a lot of room for overclocking, in my opinion, on those chips. The cool part about these chips is that when I bin them, I saw drastically different results. And so when I was binning them, I got a wider range of chips. And some chips were really good, and others were really, really bad. So now that we have the magic eraser set up, I can now install the ceramic. This is a special non-ceramic thermal paste, because ceramic thermal paste cracks at low temperature. So this is Kingpin Cooling. Most of my gear I get is from Kingpin Cooling. Vincent made that graphics card, as well as the GPU pots, as well as this thermal paste I'm using. My CPU pot is a Bits Power pot. I will say though that overclocking on these Skylake processors, I've only done water. This is my first time doing liquid nitrogen. Also, when I installed the thermocouple for the thermometer, you have to put some thermal paste into the onto the thermocouple, or else you're not going to get a good reading of your temperature. So let me unplug this thermometer. We're going to cover it with the thermal paste and stick it into the bottom of the CPU block. Gonna have to clean that off again. I'm going to use a small piece of Kapton tape to keep that in place. Got a little guy fell off my wall. No, I don't have much. I just have done air cooling overclocking on the Ryzen CPUs. Ryzen CPUs are really popular, but I just never collected them. I did have some experience with the AMD FX 8350 Bulldozer series, but man, that's like a 10-year-old chip now. More than 10-year-old chip. So here we go. There's this. And honestly, I want to make sure that I spread this thermal paste out nice and thin. I don't want to have any missing coverage on this processor, so I'll be spreading it with this spatula. And I don't want to go too thick either, but I also don't want to go too thin. Another nice part about having the magic eraser though is the magic eraser acts as a great barrier between making a barrier between the chip as well as the pot. And it just needs to be nice and uniform, essentially. Honestly, in my opinion, maximizing computer performance is like, there's two types. there's reliability, and then there's also performance, just like pure speed. Speed saves time. Reliability minimizes downtime. Both of these factors play into the fact about minimizing wasted time. So 2 years ago, I was really into min-maxing my computer component performance, and for Ryzen, I wanted to just be able to use my cooling. Found out that you can't utilize the extra temperature headroom. The best thing to do was to manually offset the curve yourself, but it was my first system, so I may have missed something. Did I miss something? Could you have used your headroom? Lapped your IHS? Yeah, exactly. There's no point. You can't get much more juice out of the Ryzen CPUs. They're already running super hard. Think about it this way. Intel pipes are skinnier. Actually, maybe not anymore. From my opinion, like, AMD always had this like image to me that you essentially just had a massive power consumption, but I don't even think that's true anymore. I'm pretty sure that Intel chips are way hotter now. All right, it might look like a mess, but that's actually really flat right now. I'll show you the really crappy job that I did. But if I put tension on it, it'll be fine. Well, so nice and blown out. It's not too flat, but once I press it down, it'll even itself out. Yeah, you didn't really miss anything with the headroom though. And the AMD processors are already pretty much at their limits of what they can do. But in a sense, you get better performance per dollar with AMD versus Intel. I still believe you do. So right now, I am installing the block. And I'm actually going to pass the thermocouple. Gosh, I really hope that this motherboard works. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of annoying, I think. So let's see. If I just push this down, this is not fun. Try to get it to cool. Okay. So now now that those are pulled through, I need my springs. I'm pretty sure this thing got to be pretty darn tight. Yeah, there's a reason why people don't really use the Ryzen CPUs for LN2 overclocking. It's not meaningless, but there's better things to be overclocking. The old AMD series, they used to be unlocked. It was one of the first chips someone hit 8 gigahertz on, was the 8350 Bulldozer series. That was one beast of a chip back then. Oh shit. So for some reason it kept unscrewing out of the back side. So that's one problem. Whoops. Screwing these on. I'm gonna use these pair of scissors right here to try to pick this out like a pair of pliers. There we go. Alright, so finally getting this all screwed together. Alright, cool. So there we go. That's the processor, fully mounted and seated. And now I'm seeing a problem that I don't think this is wide enough for 4-channel memory. So when this is the case, what we're gonna end up having to do is, instead of using this black foam insulator, like on some sockets I can use, I'll have to use a shop towels with a rubber band. So if I use shop towels and a rubber band, I'll be able to essentially control this area much better. Another thing that is very important is actually airflow near the case, or near the CPU. So one thing that I like to use is a rubber band, and not a rubber band, a fan. And so this fan can actually just be used to blow air onto the computer. I'm actually going to use these helping hands here. Anything I'm not using, I'm just trying to move out of the way right now. So I think I'm just going to use this fan like that. There we go. Let me make it a little brighter. I have this light, so let me attach this to the GoPro. It should help with some shadows you might be seeing. Why do I do it? So I guess here, the full story here, you know what? I wonder if I can like hold the mic like a microphone. Like, is that a possibility? Is this a possibility? Is it? Oh my god. It is. There we go. Here we go. So the reason why I wanted to do the liquid nitrogen overclocking is because I always loved building gaming PCs. So if we go to my website, this was my first gaming computer that was like really fast, but it wasn't fast enough. It was kind of getting old, and I decided to make my own computer. And that was this first computer. I made it in 2013 and did a lot of case modding with it. I love case modding, metal fabrication. And over the years, I built multiple computers. And eventually, I built this beast. So this was my 4-way SLI 1080 Ti with the i9-7980XE. And if we go to my Firestrike scores and my Time Spy score, it's better than 99% of all results. But if we go to the Hall of Fame, if we go to Firestrike Ultra 4 cards, I still am number 10 in the world. But I want to be number 10 for all. And everyone's using, oh wow, Extreme Addict. Still, see, Kingpin, 4-way 1080 Ti SLI. 4-way 1080 Ti SLI is so fast. People underestimate how fast you could get liquid nitrogen. And that is competing with the 4090s. Now, what is better than one 4090? Well, two 3090s. And I kind of missed my boat to try the overclocking with the 3090 configuration. So I am going to be attempting 2x 3090. I want to get the world's best score. And hopefully, I want to take Kingpin's Firestrike Ultra #1 spot. That is my dream. And it's been my dream since 2013. I even have made the 4-way 1080 Ti SLI. and here's my score. But it really hurts to know that. See, time spy extreme. This was back when we didn't have RTX and stuff. Now there's Port Royale. I have never even ran Port Royale yet. Yes. But the 3090, no, the 3090, the normal one has it too. 3090, the 3090 Ti. I'm pretty sure the 4090. But yeah, I want to go for number 1. That's my goal. I'm just a small guy, small fish, just trying to beat the big number 1. I've always tried with the computer overclocking. This number 10 in the world score was actually done with this computer. And this computer, it was only water cooled. So that's a pretty big flex to just use water cooling to be able to do all this overclocking. And I would essentially leave my window open at night to get the room super cool, and then run it, and I'd run it, and I'd let the temperature sky. I mean, this is water cooled, and the temps of like the CPU were like over 80 degrees Celsius, like almost 90, like, and I'd turn it off, and I would just do one run every day. And I slowly climbed the ranks with this processor until the last score I got on this i9 was an all-core 5.2 gigahertz. Let me see, 5.15 gigahertz on all cores. That is almost it's like a super duper high overclock for this chip, for base clock. Number 1, Greenland meta. What does Greenland mean? I don't know what that is. All right. But back to this. Right now we have the LN2 pot. We have everything mounted. I really hope everything works, but right now I just realized that all my memory slots are blocked by the foam insulation. So I actually have to remove the foam insulation, and I'll be right back. I have to get some green shop towels and some rubber bands. So I'll be right back. BRB. It's not a bathroom break. I'll be right back. I'm back. Oh, you don't know the country Greenland. Can't tell if you're trying Greenland. Oh, because it's really cool, like temperature cool. Oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah, being in Greenland. Well, when I did it, it was actually like when there was like it got super cold here in I'm in California. Actually, designing GPUs and CPUs, I have applied So these are the blue shop towels I'm going to be using, and I'm hoping the rubber bands won't get too cold. Well, they'll just become brittle and snap. I actually got a job offer from NVIDIA to design GPUs, but I just don't like NVIDIA as a company. And what was really funny is that after I decided I wouldn't work at NVIDIA, and a few years later, just recently now, EVGA said they're going to stop working with NVIDIA because they don't like how NVIDIA treats EVGA. I was hired. NVIDIA offered me a job offer. I did job interview with the vice president of NVIDIA at the time, and some really high level engineers, and they really liked the work that I do. I did a lot of work in autonomous driving and self-driving cars, which is pretty relevant to GPU computational technologies. But I think for now I just want to work on my own thing, because it's kind of what keeps me going every day. Do you have any Turtle Judd? Do you like to do computer engineering? Are you a computer engineer? Actually, soon I might actually have to take a bathroom break here because I've been standing and streaming for a bit. You know what? After I remove this insulator, I'm gonna take a quick 5-minute break. I need to get some water. My throat is so dry right now. It's kind of warm today, which is not good for the computer overclocking. However, it's not humid. When it's humid, the condensation in the air just becomes an absolute nightmare to deal with. So I will be removing this insulator. And instead of using that insulator, I'll be using shop towels. So now, when I install this bracket, it'll actually just be installed like so. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna leave this camera rolling though. I'll be right back. Give me 5 minutes. I'm back. All right. My bad. So these two are my water bottles that I use for pouring the liquid nitrogen, and the reason why is because it's a lot easier to have liquid nitrogen being poured from this rather than being poured out of that big dewar into the small container. So before we get all this ready, oh okay, yeah, I was trying to show you something. So yeah, I'm gonna start wrapping those blue shop towels around here as the insulator to pick up the condensation droppings, because the foam insulator is too big. And there we go. Now we are back mounted on the stand. That wasn't too bad. So now that I have this, I have to essentially just fold it in a way that lets me and it gets really jank, actually, this stuff. Like, people think it's like super precise, and some things are, but like this does not need to be all super crazy. Rubber bands. That's a good idea. I should probably put my website in the description. I did not think of that. Is it on the channel description? I'm not sure if it is or not. I do some like engineering consulting services as well, but never had a consultee. Yeah, consultee come to me. All right, so there we go. Now we gotta put the springs back on. If people look for me, they can find me, but dang, no, I should put that in then. If the people want to find me, they can, but I want people to be able to know me without me telling them who I am. I want to be known for how fast my computers are. So hopefully one day they will. I've never used this CPU pot before. I'm also really rusty on overclocking. So we'll see what type of scores I get. I'm not afraid to break things, so that's one advantage I have over most people. Okay. Cool. There we go. Oh man, I really hope this boots up. Just give it 2 volts. Yes, just send it. 2 volts. Easy, no problem. I handle it. I think I think when I got my record, I was pushing like 1.4, which is a lot. I really sent these chips. Send it, full send. Can't be the fastest when you're not. Like, think about drag racers, you know? Like, drag racers, they don't really care about breaking stuff, and they'll just send it. Try to get, like, absolutely the fastest scores possible in the world for driving, you know? It just blows my mind. Alright, you know what? I think I could add a few more paper towels as an insulator. It doesn't feel very well insulated in my opinion. So, I'm going to fix that. Let's see. Thermocouple is reading 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Which is about right. This room, about 70 degrees right now. Honestly, it's so impressive how accurate some of these instruments are for measuring temperature and whatnot. Like, who knew that we would be able to measure the movement, the vibrations of atoms and whatnot, to be able to pinpoint them so scientifically to a T, you know? So there we go. There's the it's an LN2 pot. It's going in there. All right. Just add one last rubber band to the top right here. And we can put in our sticks of RAM now. When I get closer to this stage of building these systems, I get really nervous, and I really hope it works because I don't want to have to pull out another motherboard. If that happens, then I think I just take a break until tomorrow. So on this board, this slot, this slot, this slot, this slot don't run at the same speed. This one runs at 16x, this one runs at 8x, 16x, 8x. So if I were to put a GPU in, to make sure I don't bottleneck the GPU, I'd have to put it in one of these slots. These two slots are half the speed of the other slots. So I'm gonna grab the Kingpin card. We're going to put this card, this slot here, kind of further away from the condensation is the idea. Don't want everything too close together, cramped. And then I'm going to take two of these spacers, and then I'm going to install this radiator right here.
Okay, I'm not going to tighten these all the way because the fins will get damaged on the radiator. But that'll be enough to hold it on. It's not going to be transported for anything anyways. So now that we have this fan blowing air, darn, they're not cooperating as I would like. There. The parts that weren't used are being removed. Okay. All right. It's almost ready. Be tested with. So the setup now is a single 3090. Yes, they do. To overclock a RAM, you have to remove the RAM sticks and you put them in these heat fins. Then you get a bunch of these heat fins, like for example, you get them all together. So like if I had 4 sticks of RAM on one side, I got all 4 of these sticks of RAM all put together. And then you get one of these memory pots. Memory pot goes below, you pour the liquid nitrogen in from above. RAM overclocking can help drastically with CPU performance. The RAM can be a huge limitation on what you're doing with your computer. So it is a very important aspect of liquid nitrogen overclocking. However, the reason why I'm not doing any of that right now is because these RAM are soldered, these heat spreaders are soldered on the Corsair Dominator Platinum. So they're not removable. So those, there's nothing I can do about that. They just have to stay on like that. But I will be doing the memory overclocking. So now we have these power supplies. At first we'll just use one, but we have 3 1600 watt T2 power supplies. Once I'm liquid nitrogen overclocking on both the graphics card and the CPU, then we will start using the 2 power supplies, one for each high power draw source. So for the first one, the CPU pot only probably will draw about 750 watts, and then the Kingpin card will draw probably about 500 watts. So we'd probably be at like 1300 watts, and after we start overclocking on the Kingpin as well, then we'll start wanting to use 2 power supplies, one for each high power device. So now I will be using, I'm going to use the white cable first. I really like these white power supply cables that I got. They're a lot of fun to use. So just plug these in one at a time. Here's the CPU connector. And now this is when it's really important to plug in the spare ports. So like for example, you need like a spare CPU power pin. You don't want to forget to plug that in. We got the RAM, not the RAM, the graphics card.
Also, with the cables, you want to make sure you're using high quality cables. Nothing like a short power draw to limit a world record run for this type of stuff. Here we go. Got 2 there. And here's the third PCIe power connector. Another thing that I'm going to need to do is I need to get an NVMe or some drive, because I don't have any drives for running the benchmarks off of, actually. So I don't think today we'll just be able to turn on the system, make sure that the system is stable, just turning on with liquid nitrogen. And that's pretty important because you want to make sure that everything's stable before trying to push things to the limit. If things aren't working to begin with, there's no point in trying to push things harder than they already can. So as you can see, this ain't my first rodeo. We need one more CPU pin connector. Cool. And then I think there was a Molex connector at the bottom back here. However, I don't think we'll need that for this, because, and the reason why is because yeah, I just don't think we need it for this exact configuration. I might actually have to add spacers onto this radiator though. It's kind of leaning a little more than I'd like. So we have some nylon spacers there. These spacers are too small. How about that? We use slightly thicker, fatter spacers. That should do it. So there's one. Now we need to do this other side here. All right, there we go. All right. Now all these cables seem that we did not need this. Let me just move all these cables aside. That is an absolutely crazy amount of cables here. Look at that. All power supply cables. That's insane. Okay, that cleared up so much room for this project. Holy crap. I was confined there with space, and now it feels like I have so much more. Which is great. Except now I have this tangled cable here. And then we have this puppy here. And then this is the power supply that'll be running here. And then this is the temperature readout here. CPU fan. Alrighty, and then here's the liquid nitrogen. Alright, cool. I think the day 2 setup is now pretty much complete. Today, I think I might try testing this computer. This is my designated overclocking monitor. And then we'll pour the liquid nitrogen into there, hopefully with the correct output of a functional computer. I will also need a new brain because I'm not being able to put these words together. Oh, I'll need a better camera setup because right now I am totally tripping on what is going on here. See, this is the problem that I have is every turn there's just more parts. There we go. And there we go. All right, now that we have these big ass dryer plugs, ta-da! So this is the plug that we needed. Now, this power supply, plug into here, power here, motherboard lights up. I don't know if can you guys see that? Alright, thank you. Have a good day, Turtle Judd. You guys have a good... Thanks for stopping by. So we're going to be now testing the stability of the system before making it larger and larger. So with the motherboard now, with this one, visually seems to be working, but needs to go through stability testing. This motherboard had an issue where it would turn on and then it would turn itself off. That needs to be resolved before the liquid nitrogen overclocking really take place. I'm currently needing to find an HDMI cable for the Kingpin card to the monitor, as well as I have a mouse and keyboard that I have designated my first mechanical keyboard ever. This is going to be my overclocking keyboard. And these will be over here. These don't need to be right here. This is a massive moment for me. The trash bag's a little trashy. Alright, so I guess I will have to get some liquid nitrogen into the smaller containers that I have over here. Ah! Whoops, that was really loud. Drop this. We're going to be using this container as well as this container for the liquid nitrogen. You know what? I'm thinking it might be a good idea to clean up this wiring a little bit so that I have more table space, because you know what? That seems to work fine. Just push those wires aside. You know? We need a keyboard. We don't have a mouse. I'm gonna steal my mouse from my desktop computer. And then I need to plug in this monitor. I'm pretty sure I have an HDMI cable. Somewhere. So, let's get this show on the road. Here we go. I need to pour the liquid nitrogen into those two containers. I also need to get an HDMI cable. I'm lazy, so I decided I'm gonna use my HDMI cable from my Nintendo Switch. Oh, I just realized I have an HDMI cable here. I feel dumb now. It was literally wrapped up here super nicely so that I would know where it exactly would be to find it. Also, I need internet because I need drivers. So, I guess I need a very short Ethernet cable. So there's that. What else do I need? Need a and to start getting it cold, I can't let it warm up, or else then it'll just condensate and then the water will just accumulate.
Oh, Ethernet cable, right. Let's go. I think I just gonna use this Ethernet cable right here because it's the first thing I have readily available to me. And honestly, I think I'm just gonna boot from a spare drive that I have lying around. Nothing fancy at all. There we go. So now I have internet as well. So there we go. We should be ready for some actual serious liquid nitrogen overclocking. There. That's a little better. Can't really see the mic now. So there's no drive. I think I have a Windows drive somewhere. I do have one. A Windows drive right here. We're just gonna throw this on, see what it does. I don't remember what's in this drive, but I think it'll be good enough to use. I think this was just for like a mining, so it should be good to go. I'm gonna borrow a green SATA cable. I know, God forbid. Actually, a blue one. I need it for the SSD, but that's okay. Just one blue SATA cable won't kill me. All right. So let's go to temperature T1. T2, and then we want to switch to Kelvin, Celsius. So now we're gonna have to pour in the liquid nitrogen into these two pots. There we go. The liquid nitrogen is now transferred into this container. Surprisingly very clear. It just looks like water. Like, that's water. Damn.
That's crazy. It looks just like water. You know what, I wonder if I could pour it through this. I might break this lid. Honestly. If it doesn't pour through this lid, I'm very sad. That didn't work. But we just pour that little bit into there. And I think one thing I just learned is that you can't use a lid that's not pre-chilled. Temperature is drastically dropping now. And we'll just be pouring this straight in there. So here's the liquid nitrogen. Here's the computer. I'm getting it temperature down before we turn it on. So we're gonna pour a little more. We're slowly trying to get the temperature down to where we want it. I see a little better. So we're at negative 40 degrees Celsius, centigrade, and I think we can turn the computer on now. All right. As you see, the temperature is rising now. Let me make sure the monitor is in the correct mode. I'm keeping an eye on the temperature. Right now, it doesn't matter if it's the temperature increases or not. That noise that you hear right now is just the fan not working proper, or the pump on the water block for the Kingpin card isn't working properly. But that'll be solved in any moment. Or it doesn't really matter, honestly. That's why I haven't dealt with it. So here's the liquid nitrogen. We're heating back up again. Kind of need to redirect the airflow. Whoa, it's not good. So it says it's giving me an A2 memory code. So I think there is a problem with this process or this motherboard. I
really wish that I had a setup where that I could see the stream, or like the camera could be on the other side of the desk, because when the camera's on the same side as the desk, I have a very hard time doing anything, which is kind of annoying. There. Let's see. So it's giving me a memory code that is specifically for A2. Let me double check that. Let's go back onto the computer for the live stream. I just stole my own mouse. Great. Let's go to A2 memory, ASUS. Let's see. Why isn't the monitor? Oh, we're getting an all clear. AA means all clear. I need to pour some more. So the keyboard is working. I'm not understanding why I'm not getting any display output on this motherboard. I'm going to switch to the DisplayPort cable here. So it's cycling through the boot codes right now. Temperature is going up again. I probably will have to go offline if things aren't easy to stream at the same time as doing this. Oh, y'all can't see nothing. There we go. So I'm getting an all okay clear code here. Let me see. I have a boot code. We're going to turn off. We're going to go into LN2 mode. Go into slow mode. We're going to pause on startup. I'm going to start streaming on my other account. So I'm trying to get this motherboard to stably boot right now. For
For some reason, it's not liking booting. Mr. Vartantians, hey, what's up? Vartanians, Lancer 2015, what's up? Right now I'm doing some liquid nitrogen overclocking on my i9 7980XE. Right now we're kind of having an issue where it's not posting properly, so I might have to switch the motherboard out. So right now we're running at negative 40 degrees Celsius. I could go a lot colder, but it's not what I'm trying to do right now. I'm just trying to read all the codes and make sure it boots properly. If this can't boot properly, I'm probably going to have to see it boots to 99, which means that it should be all clear, but I'm not getting any motherboard readout or some GPU readout. I might have to switch the motherboard, the graphics card, to the top slot instead. I'd really rather run the graphics card in this bottom slot, but might just have to move it up here, but we'll see what happens. Alright, we're going to turn it off. I'm going to switch the motherboard slot right here. All right. Let's try that again. B or 6-7. Pretty sure that's a B. B7 boot code. Maybe it's 67. Darn, so I think this motherboard seems not to be working so well. I think the monitor is having an issue being displayed out. if this motherboard doesn't work, then it'll be sent out to have the socket replaced. Yeah, so this is on. $79 D5. Okay, turned off on its own. That's a good thing. So it posted. It frickin' posted. I saw it. Frickin' posted. So right now I'm trying to get it to post on this monitor over here, but for some reason it's just not posting at all. And I'm suspecting it's the motherboard. Even though I'm getting the all clear. Yeah, see this, if I pushed it on instantly like that, it shouldn't turn on instantly like that. So I think today we'll have to call it here and then try again tomorrow. I think we used about about 2 liters of liquid nitrogen. Yeah, it seems like the motherboard is hanging up, so we'll have to swap the motherboard out for a different motherboard. So we're gonna take a break here, and we'll start on tomorrow. We will start again with a new motherboard. So thanks guys for watching this first stream. Didn't get everything working on this first one. However, we will be ready for the next one. So stay tuned, and we'll see what happens.